Hello. Hello there. What is happening? People's right. Where are we? Hello everybody. I see how he's doing. So I'm going to have a wee look. Flat Out Truth Channel sent me a link to this guy, Professor Simon Holland. So I'm going to be addressing that. Send a wee message to him. Have a wee look at building bridges from the UK to Ireland, thanks to Jean at West Coast Wisdom. And I'll have a wee talk about online bullying. In fact, I think I might just even start there. I'll come back to the online bullying. It's something that I gave a wee bit of thought to, when I had my time away, when I was busy. Thoughts of public perception and, behaviours of people and how things can cascade and whatever else. And it just reaffirms things to me, about people's attachments to, external sources and why they would place relevance on what somebody else, thinks about you, particularly at a subjective level. Now, people that have been involved in this topic, particularly this topic, know a lot about attempts at online bullying. I've got a catalogue now of over 5 years of incessant, continual attempts to try and break you down psychologically and emotionally. Now, I would never have lasted that long online in the public eye if I really gave a shit about what anybody else thought of me. This thing that came up, it was a girl called Kerry Katona, who I know is a celebrity from times gone by. Now, she's obviously talking about some girl who has committed suicide. I don't know who this person is, but it just kind of reminded me to maybe bring this up. Why do these things happen? Why do people get depressed and suicidal based upon what other people think of them? And particularly celebrities, because a celebrity has a drug addiction, if you like. They become hooked on the attention they receive. It's almost like godlike status, I would imagine, and they get a thrill out of that. So to be put up there in a negative light and torn down and chastised by people left, right and centre, justly or unjustly, is going to have an adverse effect on people who have an importance or an attachment to external sources. So I'm sure people have got many opinions about these things, but me for one, my attitude has always been that I could not give a fuck about what another human being wants to think about me. When we're talking about, certain aspects, like a topic or a celebrity involved in a particular sport or whatever, the main focus for me is an interest in the content that they're offering me. So what is the topic at hand? Are they a musician? Are they a sportsman? So, therefore it's in that category, and then I'm looking at the content of what they offer me within that category. As soon as my attention turns to who the person is privately, in their subjectivity, then again, that says a hell of a lot about somebody like me. Why would I even care about any of that? What relevance would that be to me? Or to anybody else for that matter? For me, it's a huge tool that's used against people, is to try and threaten them with being chastised and ridiculed and laughed at and shunned by the masses or whoever. And I know that many people are in a delicate state that may be, affected by these things, but I can only tell you through experience, you really need to come to the realisation that it's only you that places importance upon that. Now, if you give something like that importance and relevance, then of course whatever actions or things that are stated, behaviours come in your direction from the place that you placed importance upon, you are going to be affected by that. So again, people really need to take responsibility for what they allow to affect them. Yeah. So, as I've said so many times before, when I say I do not give a fuck about what anybody thinks, it's very, very true. But again, at the same time, that doesn't mean to say that I'm not a friendly person and that you couldn't get the opportunity to get to know me on a personal level or any of these things. But that's the problem that people have. The world is saturated by social media and everybody's influencing everybody else. So you're getting depression and anxiety from all walks, either being not accepted or, people looking on at these supposed windswept and interesting catalogue posed lifestyles, flickers of interesting, happiness and satisfaction from the Facebookers and every fucking else. And people are judging their own life by what they think is happening in other people's lives. It's just not the case. The majority of people are dissatisfied just the same as you, I, or anybody else. They can have a facade. They can maybe distract themselves for a certain amount of time, by some of these delusions. But eventually the delusion, they're going to become disillusioned by it. It's going to break down and they're going to then jump and look for something else to satisfy them. Right? But, you've got onlookers, you've got children growing up looking at these people thinking it's a relevance and that's something to be attained. Celebrityism and these kind of things in our public objective arenas are a huge part of the problem. Because it's creating a hierarchy. It's creating a disconnect, between real life experience and apparent perceptions of what it means to have a successful, windswept and interesting life. These people are under the same restrictions as you, I and everybody else. They can't go wherever they want. Sure, they might be alleviated from some of the stresses of money. But that's about it. The rest of it's just the fucking same. So other smiley catalogue poses. I'm so happy, I'm so fulfilled. Look at my snapshot. That's one frame of not even a second that people see, and it influences them because they're looking outward for some direction and they attach to it and they make it relevant. And then the people that attain it, thrive on it, they think it's wonderful, and then they start to alter their behaviour and change who they are to try and maintain that attention. And then when it's shone on you in a negative light and everybody's pointing the finger of hatred towards you, people end up like this poor woman, taking their own life. So again, it's just, for me, it's just another part of the psychological state of bewilderment, and people seeing and being influenced by their circumstance and trying to attain these delusions. So anyhow, if you're one of the people, and again, I've partaken in some of this stuff, and that's some of the stuff I reflected on, a couple of times with some of the antagonists, I've referred to them as predators or pedos or whatever else. Now, in my moment of anger and annoyance, I've stated these things only because, I've got people telling barefaced lies. So to make an example and to show that, we can all partake in the games, we can all sow the seeds of bitchiness and start Chinese whispers and start rumours and throw accusations about left, right and centre. But it's really not my bag. I really can't be bothered with any of that. So I reflect on my own behaviour and how I come across maybe to the public. Again, I make absolutely no fucking apologies for it, because if you're watching me and you're influenced by me and you're placing relevance and expectation upon me, then that's your fucking well fault, not mine. So be very careful where you place your attention and why you're placing your attention where it is. Because you see that's how celebrity idol worship happens. As I said before, and particularly in this kind of arena, people don't really want to figure it out for themselves. So they'll figure out the surface level, they'll get an inclination at what's going on, and then they'll pick a side, an apparent side, and then they'll just sit back and think, I don't need to think about it because I'm going to place my championing of this particular celebrity. And they think that there's going to be a game won, and the outcome is going to be that they were on the winning side because they supported this dude or that woman or whatever it is. That's everybody's missing the point if that's the behaviour you're partaking in. You're supposed to be understanding the faculties of your own mind, how it works, how it processes stuff, how it forms relationships and whatever else based on your circumstance and previous experience. And you need to become aware of these things, and you need to discern for yourself. If you're looking into this topic and you're not discerning for yourself, there's a huge issue. You should be covering all grounds. You should be curious enough to make sure that you understand and that you know what's demonstrable to yourself. Again, there's this illusion of online media, in regards to this particular topic, that some battle's going to be won. There's going to be some outcome. That's the game they want you involved in. Because that way they can steer it and they can perpetuate it and keep your attention in, apathy, stagnation. The real battle is always with yourself, to make sure that you're not succumbing to your own biases and delusions, first and foremost. Next, you can affect other people. If you feel it's important and relevant enough, as I've stated before, it's relevant and important enough to me because logistically, it's in my interests that we have more and more people querying this, questioning it, so that we can have things out on the table and we can have maybe resolve a better understanding. Because right now there is serious justification for the refusal of a particular offering, that being the globular heliocentric cosmology. And that's justified based on the fact that there is nothing supporting it by way of practical reference. It's a sophistry, it is a concept. But at the same time, I'm always looking to hopefully engage with people with intellectual honesty to see progress, because I thrive on progress being made. I don't want to just stagnate. And I know I've played into the whole ripping the piss and yada yada, but that's part and parcel of this. That's the influence of the online, media stuff, when you're constantly being bombarded by antagonistic type behaviour. And as I've said before, for me, I thought it was important to display a level of contempt, to show strength, to show people that you can stand in the face of this stuff and just keep saying, fuck you, bring it on. Right? And I know I've played a part in that, but as I say, my intent for that was for the good. Right? To benefit people who are maybe timid, too scared to stand up to it, who are influenced by, these bully type tactics that go on. And make no mistake about it, a lot of this stuff is practiced, it's rehearsed, and they execute it, right? And a lot of it is organised. I mean, I've got catalogues here of groups of organised, attack that go on. So, and I'm going way back from, 2015, and it continues to this very day. But the fact of the matter is that, for myself, I'm a rational, honest person. I have no horse in any race. I have no political bias or religious bias or any want for anything to be true other than what is actually true. Now I have formulated a method for discerning my reality. And that method is based upon practical reference, which is simply put, what's your claim? Now, demonstrate your claim for me. If we go out with that bar of expectation on my part, I'm not interested. Because that's where it starts to get murky and deceptive, because we're now entering into the realms of language. And everybody knows language can manipulate, particularly when you don't fully understand it. You don't fully understand your own processes and how you're being influenced. So that's where sophistry comes in, and that's where something like the Globe utilises sophistry very often. It has to, because it's not a demonstrable thing. It has no practical references. It exists only as a concept, supported by an image on a screen. So, as I've stated before, it's no irrational, it's no unreasonable to negate or neglect or refuse a particular claim based on what people are seeing on a TV screen. I think it's highly irrational and highly, dishonest for people to keep trying to perpetuate their bias, their belief system, because they think they've got the sway of a consensus and the support of a TV screen. That is not a scientific, skeptical inquiry. People like me are the true skeptics. People like you there are the true skeptics. We came from a cult doctrine, a belief system. We had the strength and the honesty to be able to refuse it, sift through it, break it apart, go through the emotional and the psychological processes to then arrive on new ground with a willingness to now progress further with an actual understanding. But people like me are continually, lumped in with a generalisation of a particular type of character, like a religious fundamentalist or whatever, somebody with a particular bias, and that's just no fair. Particularly when you have people like Professor Simon coming out acting as if he's all interested and honest. Well, here's your opportunity, same as anybody else that's a globular proponent. When are you going to step up to the mark and have an actual discussion? Or are you just going to cherry pick some lower hanging fruit that you know you can confuse and tie up in knots and get them to, adopt strawman claims that you can then attack? Because that's all we ever see happen. Again, that type of behaviour is a form of bullying. But it doesn't have an effect on somebody like me. Because I know their games. And again, these games can only affect you when they're subliminal. When your awareness, your attention has not been on them for you to understand them, then you will be affected. As soon as you see the games of manipulation, it becomes easy. It's very, very weak. And you always have to ask yourself, manipulation and control stems from fear. So, the system, the powers that be, continually manipulating, telling lies, whatever, what are they scared of? Because they're the ones that are scared. So what is their fear? It's the questions you need to ask yourself. Don't let anybody try and convince you that they're superpowers and they're wealthy and they're rich and they're super evil and they're this and they speak to aliens and fucking interdimensional entities and all this fucking rubbish. They're just terrified, wee scared peoples. That's the truth of the matter. Anyhow, hope everybody's well. If you're feeling down about online behaviours or whatever else, you shouldn't be. That tells me that you're too attached to things that should be irrelevant to you. Because your everyday lived life is what should be relevant to you. Those that you cherish and those that cherish you, that's where your attention should be. That's where you should place relevance. Place your importance, not on faceless gimps, on tinterwebs. As I say, when the false ego takes over, people will start behaving in all sorts of fucking fantastical ways just to keep attention. Start being dishonest with themselves. Anyhow. Oh well, right, I wanna refresh. Hello, peepals. So, so where will I start? Before I get to this, Professor Simon Holland, we can actually check him out. Let me see here. Copy. I'd already copied that, didn't I? Paste that. There it's there. So that's Professor Simon Holland. He's, this video, I had a wee look at it and he's all talking about scientifical and science and whatever else. I mean, Professor, I don't even know, Simon, we'll call you Simon. Simon is a senior lecturer in computing. He is founder and director of the Music Computing Lab and a member of the Centre for Research in Computing and Interaction Design Research Group. Simon's research interests are in music computing, digital health and human-computer interaction. So, I'll put a wee comment, because he's asking, I mean, in this video, I got the gist that he's asking for people that are involved in this to step up and speak. So again, I'm offering myself up to have the discussion, to offer him whatever it is he's looking for. But obviously I'm not the guy that he's looking for. This is me speaking to him. Hello, Professor Simon. I will give a video response to this in the hope that you can engage in civil discussion. I am known for projecting a certain character on YouTube that involves swearing and passionate outbursts. Understatement? That is only when dealing with antagonists and trolls. If you can reason succinctly and are able to articulate your reasons without intellectual dishonesty, you will get the same in return. If you wish to see how I conduct myself in reality, please have a look at my street interactions with university students. I look forward to having the discussion, should you agree, but as I said, I will give a video response later today. I heard that back. Not that I have any expectation or demand that he should respond to me, but he is asking. So I'm going to give him it. I'm going to try very hard not to let the character out. It's difficult. Right, hello everybody, how is all doing? Who have we got before I get it? Boris Chops, Shills v Shills, Vigo, Keith Anthony, Hoppy Hippie, Flat Earth Female, hello, Sammy Shaw, Party Pack, Johnny Draco, Jack Stander, Beyond Belief, Bloody Sticker and Water. And that reminds me as well, you know, I've seen people going on about Frank, Spirit of Longthorn that was on the other night. You know, and everybody jumped on the bandwagons. Sometimes we just forget ourselves. Sometimes we get too comfortable with maybe the wee tipple or whatever. And people are people. You know, that doesn't mean to say that we jump on people's backs, start giving them a fucking hard time. You know, not everybody's perfect, no anybody's perfect. You know, sometimes we just need to have a wee bit of give, a bit of tolerance and live and let live. Sure, Frank's big enough to take it on the chin and whatever, you know, and I'm sure he'll be back. It's always the same. You get one jumping in and the rest jump in. Everybody's entitled to see it how they see it, you know, but we live in an age of snowflakeism where everybody gets their fuses hurt by that. Just fucking own it. You know, we all fuck up. None of us is perfect. As soon as we start trying to delude ourselves and then everybody else into thinking we are perfect, it's just a recipe for disaster. Because you're going to fall apart at some point. Right. So, let's hear what Professor Simon's got to say. So it's very interesting, you know, you say Professor. Immediately people think scientist, sciencey guy. Oh, no. He's into computers. Lecturer in computing. Professor. Again, we do not appeal to, you know, stature, what the PhD degrees couldn't care less. We're at the ground level now. We're talking about the bare facts. I don't need degrees and accolades in order for you to demonstrate a substance and its claimed behaviour. So it means diddly squat to me. Anyhow. Professor Simon.
Hey, welcome back, lovely people. And today I thought we'd do something a little different. I want to ask you some serious questions on a subject it's really important to
So I get the impression that you're trying to project an air of honesty, Simon. I know that you're projecting it, Simon, and you're trying to use body language to depict that you're unoffensive and that you're trying to be welcoming and, you know, yada yada. I see it as a facade right now, because I don't know you enough to see your walk to see if you carry it through that honesty. Hopefully you do, but I'm very sceptical and cynical, and I'm probably going to state that you will not. I mean, I don't know if this is an Albert Einstein modelling that you're going for here, so you're very aware of how you project yourself to others and how you want them to perceive you. But see all that clownery, I'm the type of guy that just looks right through that, and I get right to the heart of you to see what you actually are. So showing me peacock feathers and displays like this isn't going to have any effect on somebody like me. But I realise that you think that people are dumb, and quite a lot of people are dumb, and they will be influenced by your use of lesser magic here, trying to NLP them. Right? Just be real. Walk the walk, whatever you got.
Understand, and that is, why do people want to believe in conspiracy theories? Why?
See, this is the thing. He comes from the presupposition that he's already figured it out, that he's a psychologist now, or that's a pseudoscience as well, but he thinks he has a fix on people, that people want to believe in conspiracy theories. Now, I could see that there is cases of that for various different reasons. Some people fall into that kind of, victim mindset, and that's the way they are. But I certainly ain't one of them. I never wanted any of this. This is just a natural progression of honesty, inquiry, and seeing what adds up and what does not, based on the bar of practicality. So Simon, right away, I can tell you that I'd never wanted any of this, never set out, premeditated or preconceptions of any of it. It just happened based on a natural progression.
Would you want to believe that the
So
Earth...
he thinks he's sneaky, or maybe he's not even realising it, that he's trying to undermine people's intelligence right away. So by making these statements, what he's actually doing is showing you that he views himself as a tier above, and he's looking down upon something that he's professing he's figured out. Again, this is quite delusional and quite dishonest.
Earth is flat, or men didn't walk on the moon. So today I wanted...
And again, it's not that I wanted to believe that the Earth was flat, although we have to define what we mean by flat. For me, the Earth is demonstrably level. That is what I experience it. The geometric assumption, the geometry that's assumed, is that the Earth is a plane, and that is applied in all walks of life. Okay? There is only one place we use spherical geometry, but it's certainly no for three-dimensional, tangible, everyday, practical living. Simon.
Discuss the why people believe in this, and I don't, and I really underline this, don't want to discuss the conspiracy theories. If you send me an email...
What do you mean by conspiracy theories? Again, this is his get out clause. Doesn't he want to discuss conspiracy theories? Well, what's your definition of a conspiracy theory? Conspiracy is a very true thing. Human beings tell lies, Simon. I'm sure you're not that naive and ignorant to think that human beings do not. Human beings will tell the most basic of lies for idiotic, selfish reasons. That's just reality. Simon, I hope you're not one of these people who is a fantasist, an idealist that fantasises about what they think reality and human beings actually are, rather than being a realist, a direct realist, and looking at them for what they actually are and how they actually behave, right? Because humans tell lies. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact, Simon. So right off the bat, you can see that he's trying to pull it into the realms of, nonsense.
Mail that says, "Hey Professor, the Earth's flat or men didn't walk on the moon." I'm deleting it because what I want to discuss with you is why people would go there. I mean, what has gone wrong, and it's wrong.
There again, You can read, this is what I'm saying about starting to learn these things about human behaviours and reading them. What has gone wrong? He is assuming an authority, that he has more wisdom than you, that he is more intelligent than you, and he views you as somebody with a problem. It's a very egotistical, pompous, hubris attitude to be taken. Right? I'll tell you what happened, Simon. There's absolutely zero measurable proof of a sphere Earth. There is absolutely zero practical demonstrations or references for any of the globular Earth's claims. It is a concept that relies on sophistry. It's based purely on language and trying to deceive people with misrepresentations, false equivalencies, barefaced lies, ad hoc, gibberish, word salads. That's the reason, Simon.
Wrong to believe something which is just incorrect.
Bold statement. Twofold. Believe, I do not believe, I do not have beliefs. I am continually eradicating, analysing biases within myself and making sure that I do not hold any belief of anything. You're now making the other statement that somebody like me is incorrect about how they experience and explore and demonstrate their actual reality, which is quite a bold statement to be making, Simon. I hope that you've got the preparations, that you've got something substantial to back up this stance that you're taking. So far, it's not very good.
So one group of people I really want to hear from are the people who believe that the Earth is flat or men didn't walk on the moon.
So does that exclude me then? Because I don't believe that the Earth is flat. First and foremost, you need to define what you mean by flat. As I say, the Earth's demonstrably level. Demonstrably level. The reason why nobody walked on the moon is because it's an absurd, ridiculous nonsense. Plus, they depict the Earth contrary to what is demonstrable, Simon. I don't know why somebody that wants to look like Albert Einstein hasn't got the integrity or the wherewithal to figure that out yet. Right, Simon? They told you that the Earth was a spheroid with air pressure adjacent and to a vacuum, meaning that the Earth and its air uncontained exists within a medium that is a vacuum. Now, if we take that to physics, Simon, and we make deductions, we can see quite clearly, obviously, demonstrably, that that claim is utter lunacy. Okay? Now, I don't know why you're equating moon landings and a propaganda-loaded term like flat Earth. Right? Because what you see on your TV screen has got nothing to do with establishing the Earth dimensions. That comes into the realms of natural science. How do we quantify? How are we quantifying? What demonstrations do we have to support the claims that we're making in regards to natural phenomena, natural substances?
I want you to explain to me and to have in this discussion is, why did you reject the common consensus? Why did you go against what science...
So why did I reject common consensus? Well, again, Simon, it puzzles me that somebody like yourself hasn't got the wherewithal and the intelligence to realise that going by consensus is to the detriment of the individual. It is absolutely opposed to real science, that being exploration, which lies in the hands of each and every individual. So consensus is a very dangerous thing because cults start to happen, Simon. Right? And going against this science that you've just stated, what you're going to have to do is define this science that you're stating. Because the science that I go against is purely mathematical sophistry. Okay? I'm somebody that embraces practical living, practical reference, demonstration. That is the science that I understand. That is, to me, true science. Although the word science has been hijacked and misplaced over varying different aspects. So we have social sciences, which is people, psychology, yada yada. These are things that are not demonstrable, that we don't have an exact grasp on. They're pseudosciences, but they're under the banner of science. So we really have to iron this stuff out, Simon, and I hope that you're up for it. And I hope, as I say, you've got the intellectual honesty to be able to resolve the faulty reasoning that you hold. Right? Because right now I'm exposing your faulty reasoning, Simon. And don't take it personally. I hope your ego doesn't kick in and you take a wee huff. I expect you to be a man enough to step up to the mark and admit your wrongs, Simon.
Education is telling you is true. You know,
again, I would think that was a sign of health, Simon, because for me, I want people to be cynics and skeptics so that they don't fall into anybody's cult, because cults are dangerous. I would love people to be pure individuals, pure individual expressions with strength, integrity, honesty, discerning abilities to reason with themselves and the external world. Right? That takes a bit of understanding in regards to the processes of the mind and the workings of the mind, how we utilise language and how we utilise language in regards to our interactions with each other, Simon, which means that we have to be able to sit down and define what we're actually talking about and have agreements upon what we're talking about, Simon.
Try and explain to me what was your thought process in rejecting what is common knowledge.
So you just went from consensus to knowledge, Simon. Your use of language is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Irresponsible. So you went from consensus to knowledge. Now, for me, knowledge means direct experience of a thing that you then know you've had an experience of it and you can understand it.
And, is it that you like being part of this little group? You maybe not totally believe that the earth is flat, but...
Aye, that's it, Simon. People like myself love, being an introvert and being passionate enough about something to become, put yourself out in the public to then get the backlash of an immense amount of, ridicule, bullying, intimidation, propaganda, lies, misrepresentation. It's wonderful, Simon. It's absolutely beautiful, right? What a thrill you get out of it. Not only that, I mean, the coin is rolling in, Simon, by putting yourself in this position. I mean, it's a real earner, right? I hope you know the sarcasm, Simon.
But the beer's good at the meetings. I don't know. I really don't know because I don't understand. Or more worrying for me, is it that you believe only your own eyes and what your eyes are telling you, your senses and wherever you live in the world?
Well, why is that such a bad thing, Simon? Believing just what your eyes tell you is no good enough, which is another huge aspect of the globular Earth's downfall. It relies solely on intangible, visible phenomena, that being the lights in the sky, and it tries to sway people by saying and stating that it has a quantification of this intangible phenomena, Simon. So I agree with you. Your eyes are not enough, and your eyes have a geometry all of their own, which has to be understood when we're talking about ships going over bending oceans and stuff, Simon, because, again, the globe proponents are very dishonest when it comes to these things, and they're not willing to address the obvious elephants in the room. So it's not just about what I can see with my eyes, as I said, Simon. It's about what I can demonstrate to myself. That means being able to move around a substance in 3 dimensions, to mess with it, to see its interactions with other substances, to figure out its physical behaviour. As I've said to you so many times, something like water, Simon, it's very, very obvious. It doesn't tell lies. It requires no PhDs or sophistry or imaginations or any of these things. It's a very definite, abundant substance that we can all utilise and demonstrate to each other.
That these bigger picture, the things that you can't see Neil's footsteps on the moon from your farm. You can't really...
See, again, he's his logic and his reasoning is just all over the place here. He's very manipulative here. I think maybe it's because he's scared. Maybe he realises that there's an ever increasing move of people who are questioning this, and he's feeling a wee bit intimidated by it. And because he has that religious bias, he feels the need to step up and try and defend it, so that he doesn't ever have to admit to himself that he's wrong. This is one of the traits of human beings. They will behave like this. Not that he's an agent or working for a nefarious Illuminati or anything like that. This is just a kind of natural reaction, a cognitive dissonance that human beings go through when their belief system is under threat. So he wants to try and undermine it because he's a pseudo-intellect. He's convinced himself that he is an intellectual and that he's a success and he's yada yada. So anything that's going to undermine that, threaten it, he feels the need to stand over it and have an authority over it.
Tell by standing on the back of your truck whether the earth is flat or round. So is it that you just only believe?
Well, Simon, how did you establish that the earth was a sphere? Because there's absolutely no real science to support that. The only place that you've seen the earth as a sphere is on your telly, Simon. So your uppity attitude of superiority, you're making yourself look absolutely ridiculous here. And I hope you learn.
Your own eyes. And so, very sadly, you've chosen to reject.
But using your own eyes, just your eyes, seeing two-dimensional images on a fucking screen, you've decided that your worldview is that you live on an absurdity, Simon. Based on that, because that's all you've got. The reason I know that's all you've got is because when you analyse it properly, you realise that that's all that supports it. I've been there, Simon. Come on now, snap out of it.
Science? Try and explain it to me, because I'm a media broadcaster. That's what I've done. I've tried to explain and communicate science to you all my life.
No, you've not. Simon, you don't even know how to define it. Right. You're still acting like you're up there as some sort of superior intellect and authority. And I have, not that I want to make you feel down or gaslight in any way, shape or form, but I've pretty much ripped the shit right out of you here, Simon. Your reasoning and your logic and the things you've offered up have just been absolutely obliterated. Right?
So, how have I failed? How has society...
So now he's gone the victim route. This is another psychological trait where a manipulative liar, somebody who's deceptive with herself, will try and project that responsibility onto you, and then in return, make themselves the victim, that you've now to feel sorry for him. It's just a wee slip of psychological abuse that you have to feel sorry for him because he's telling you he's failed you in some way because you don't believe in absurdities anymore, and he wants you to believe in the absurdities because he needs you to believe the absurdities so that he can, verify himself and feel secure in his own being. Right? These are the traits. This is why human beings are in such a state, because this is the stuff that goes on every single day, continually.
He failed. And why do you prefer to believe something which is not true? Why is it more attractive?
It's not that I prefer it. It's just that it is true, Simon. It's demonstrably true, Simon, I'm afraid. Right? Why do you... The question can just be reversed, don't you, Simon? Why do you hold a worldview based on what some guys told you on a TV screen, Simon? I mean, come on. Can you not see what's happening here?
Explain it to me, please.
I just have.
So where do we begin? I mean, it is really hard.
We begin by first principles. We define what we're talking about, and we agree upon the language that we're using and the definitions of the wordage that we're using. Now, the definitions of the words have to be attached to something that's a real world, tangible, three-dimensional phenomena, Simon, when we're talking about objectivity. Right? That's what we have to agree upon, because if we don't, what are we talking about? Fantasy, ideas, concepts. mean, that's where we need to begin, Simon. So as I say, I hope you've got the strength to be able to partake in it.
Hard to know where to start on this. I mean,
why is it hard to know? A starting point has to be first principles. What are we discussing? The Earth's dimensions. Okay, so it's objective. Right, now what? Now we have to base things on natural phenomena, tangible substance, Simon. Because if we're just going to talk about visible phenomena, we have to understand the geometry of vision. So there's a start, Simon. I hope I'm giving you somewhere to start.
Just lay my cards on the table. The Earth is not flat, and men did walk on the moon. I mean,
bold statements, Simon. As I say, what you're trying to do here, Simon, is rob people of their direct experience, because it's everybody's experience that they're on a level plane, right? And you're making a bold statement about guys going to the moon. As I pointed out before, based on an understanding through physicality, vacuums of space adjacent to pressurised environments, it's just no chocolate, Simon. That's not supported by anything practical whatsoever. None, not even a shred, Simon. So again, what you're displaying here is a bias, a religious bias, by making the affirmed statement that you solely believe what was presented to you through a TV screen. And the reason you'll justify that is because you'll say you don't understand it, you don't know why they would lie. Again, you do not need to know the motive. When you start going there, you're just trying to, divert your own attention so that you don't have to face the elephant in the room, Simon. So you're going through a wee bit of a mental struggle here, although you're trying to keep up a pretense of confidence and security, when really, as I say, I see beyond all that, and I see the timid, scared person that's in there. Again, I'm not saying that from up on high. I want to help you. I want you to come to the table, Simon, same as everybody else, so that we can have some honesty.
It's not a problem believing those things because there's evidence out there that they are true.
The evidence that's out there that they're true is you've seen it on the TV. That's it. Hearsay and TV images, Simon. I mean...
But in an unbelievably, why did they even ask this question, weird Fox News survey,
See, again, this is another sign of insecurity. Why would you even ask that question like it's a negative? I mean, if you're somebody that portrays or pertains to be into real science, that being exploration, you would understand that that belongs to each and every individual, no a consensus and no an authority. So you would be encouraging skeptical cynicism, right, of people questioning. Why would you be scared of that? Why would you be in disbelief that that's going on and talk about it in the negative, Simon? Is that because really you're an insecure person and you feel the need to control others' reasoning and why they want to question things that you want to be true? You, Simon, would be the type of person that would turn into a fascist dictator, right? If you ever got the opportunity, and you would hang anybody who went against you.
It revealed that 20% of Americans have some doubt whether their citizens, their heroes, actually walked on the moon.
So you're using language very, manipulatively again. They're heroes. Whose heroes are they? They're not my heroes. Even if they did walk on the moon, why would they be my hero? What did that achieve? Nothing. There's still people starving, still child abuse left, right and centre. We still live in an oppressive system of slavery. Proud slavery, Simon. So these people would certainly not be my heroes. So I don't know what you're talking about. Again, you're not going to get away with manipulative use of influence against people like me, Simon. So this is where I say, I predict that you're going to go for easier targets so that you can justify and maintain your faulty world bias view, Simon. I really hope you prove me wrong.
I'm just speechless. I mean,
again, back to the authoritative pomposity that he's up on high. He is bewildered and baffled and speechless. That denotes that he's speechless because he's so dumbfounded by stupidity. And really, it's you, it's a stupid one, Simon. You must be moving about in easy circles where people don't put you in your place, right? And you've just got used to filling your wee skull full of these delusions of grandeur about who you think you are, right? That doesn't wash with somebody like me, son. Sorry.
That really is the point that we have to discuss. Why? So here's my theory, and I really want to hear yours, just on the why, not
This is his imagination. Here we're going to get
what, okay? So why people believe this. So America is very different from Britain, and you've heard this from me before.
See, he's avoiding the elephant in the room. He's going to waffle all this construct that he's going to offer you up here, right? That's just loaded with utter nonsense and emotional appeals and manipulations left, right, and centre. When the elephant in the room's staring you right in the face, Simon, there is no scientific, measurable proof or practical references, demonstrations for anything to support the globular Earth claims, Simon. It's very simple. You can try and keep going on with this facade of, oh, it's just some people with mental impairments or something like that. It's because there's no justification to maintain a belief in a globular Earth. It's an absurdity, Simon.
Paradox of America. Americans tend to trust big business and not trust their big government.
So that's what I'm saying now. He's into the emotional stuff about trusting and appeals to consensus and yada yada.
Europeans tend to trust their big government, and
more generalising Europeans and Americans. He's generalising, nations, millions and millions and millions of people. He's generalising.
Distrust their big businesses. And I think that's quite revealing, and that's going to be my starting point to try and understand where this all came from. So I'm obviously a
European. I'm just going to highlight the obvious for you, Simon. Human beings have a propensity to tell lies. So right there and then, there's justification. Ask the question, do human beings tell lies? Are human beings capable of telling lies? Yes. Well, therefore, we must have a healthy level of cynicism and scepticism. Simon? Easy peasy. Unless you're somebody like yourself who lives in a delusional world of fairies and fantasy and ideals and all that stuff, which is fair enough if that's how you maintain your existence. But as I say, I'm a realist, Simon. I deal with what the world actually is.
I'm a European socialist. I'm British. So seeing American society from...
I'm a European socialist, and this is see self-identification of ideas. Socialist, I'm a European, I'm a this, I'm a that. They're just ideas, Simon, that you have identified and placed relevance and importance upon. Again, showing me how insecure you are, because you need these things to feel like you have certainty. Right? You don't have certainty, Simon. You're just clutching at straws and you're scared.
I no doubt will get this wrong. I no doubt I'm going to make gross generalizations, and it's very much my personal point of view, and it's up
Which is fine. At least you've got the honesty to state that it is just your personal, flawed, illogical, irrational, unreasoned point of view. That's fine. It's just good that you stated that.
Discussion. So let's go for it. So where do you actually get the truth? And I think that is the fundamental problem. So businesses, for-profit commercial enterprises in America control your media.
Right, so we went straight to that from how do you get the truth? No, define truth. Real world stuff, Simon. in order to understand and know real world substance and their interactions with other substances, their geometry, their behaviour, their texture, their makeup, we have to have practical references for that, Simon, so that I can analyse some aspect of objectivity, and then I can state it to you, and then I can hand you the stuff, and you can mess with it and see if you can break what I found, Simon. I don't know what you're going on about fucking all this other word salad stuff. I get the feeling you're just trying to sway somehow again.
And I think you prefer to trust your state and local representatives rather than your rather distant national government.
So he's talking about you prefer to trust this external source and that external source and blah, 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 blah. Again, you're missing the elephant in the room, Simon. Why would people have to place trust upon any external source, particularly when that external source is another human being? I mean, you're just setting people up for letdown and disaster, Simon.
So there is a lack of trust. I think you've been lied to a lot. I'm talking about Americans here, by government, and you tend to trust.
People have been lied to from their own family, their immediate relatives, for various different reasons at different levels, right?
Trust Amazon or Google or Fox News or YouTube more than you would trust a lying politician. So, my theory, and this is just for discussion, is that if I'm being lied to, maybe it's just all wrong, and maybe I'd prefer to believe this YouTube or very biased.
So again, he's setting it up here that anybody that refuses the globe must be influenced by YouTube, and they just prefer to believe what they see on YouTube rather than what they see on their mainstream TV. It's just one and the same. Simon, again, you're missing the elephant in the room. Why would you utilise the word believe for anything? Belief is the downfall of human beings, particularly when it comes to objectivity. Self-belief, internal motivations, gene yourself up for things. You can utilise these things to your benefit. If you want to believe that you're going to be the world champion of a particular sport and you can envision it, that can be your wee sigil that can drive you forward, and you can project into that and you can use it as fuel in order for you to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. But when we're talking about objectivity, we do not require belief. It does not even enter into the discussion, Simon.
Biased piece of information because it fulfills what my requirements are and it's nearer to my observed truth, even although it doesn't really fit into a bigger world picture. So I'm going to believe that the earth is flat, and I like believing the earth is flat, and the American government lied to us because it was just a space race and they never put men on the moon. Well,
see, he's placing the individual as some sort of victim, a pawn in a belief game between the American government and influencers on YouTube. So he's undermining your ability to discern. The reason I know these people are lying, Simon, is because I actually went and looked for myself. Reality presents itself to me the way it presents itself to me, and I have tested that for myself, and it's not telling me lies, Simon. Bodies of water don't have the ability to support shear stress. They will find the lowest potential energetic state, which is a flat line. A body of water will take the shape of its containment. The surface will form an equilibrium of level, which means no deviation in elevation from one point to any other point upon the surface of any given standing body of water. Simon, that's a demonstrable fact of reality that I can demonstrate to you over and over and over again. So I don't need to be a pawn of belief in anybody's game. And that's just one point of the water, Simon. There's many, many, many more that we can get into if you're willing to step up to the mark.
It's all wrong, but I think that is the basis of what I'm seeing as an American start, an American belief of these wacky conspiracy theories.
See, I can just turn all this from about just in what I've just stated. Simon prefers to believe in a faulty worldview while ignoring demonstrable facts of his reality. So why do you prefer that belief? Why would you negate and ignore objective reality based on a faulty worldview projected to you through a TV screen? They're displaying and projecting to you the earth as an absurdity that is contrary to what reality, direct measurement and application is showing you, Simon.
But now let's talk about the United Kingdom and Great Britain. And if you're British and grew up with James Burke showing you the moon landing on the BBC, or David Attenborough's Blue Planet showing you the beauty and the roundness of the Earth, why in 2020 do you think that more people in Britain are now buying into the wacky conspiracy theories?
So you can keep undermining it by saying wacky. Again, you're insulting people by saying that continually, Simon. The reason that people are getting like that is because they realise there's nothing to support a globe. All there is the TV, Simon. And you are putting yourself up there, throwing yourself under the bus as being an advocate of that type of reasoning, which is totally bizarre. Totally bizarre, Simon. I hope you can see the illness that you're partaking in and the cul-de-sac that you have driven yourself into here, because it's a shambles, Simon.
It beats me, but I believe that it's about trust. I think if your trust in government, if your trust in education, if your trust in science has been undermined by commercial vested interests.
See, again, you're just a pawn. You're a wee pawn that's not got the ability to reason and discern and be solid in your own ability. You know, you're just a wee pawn and you're, why are you constantly trying to make people victims while you state that as if you're out with it then, Simon? Again, your pomposity, your hubris is fucking on display in abundance here, Simon. You're full of contradictions, fallacious reasoning, idiocy. And I'm not saying that to put you down. I'm saying that in the hope that you snap out of this delusional bubble you've got yourself into.
Or aligned governments, you're more willing to buy into a wacky theory that you see on YouTube, and that's what I'm trying.
No, it's not a wacky theory that I've seen on YouTube. It's the wacky reality that I live every single day, Simon.
Not to do on this channel. Happy Sunday, happy weekend, and I think this is.
See, this is what I'm saying about, you know, how this can influence the gullible and the undiscerning, the childlike mind, because he's trying to present himself as Mr. Soft and Mr. Happy, while he's really just offered up a real destructive path for any psyche, right? Because it's just fraught with holes and inconsistencies and dishonesty, right? So he wants to influence others so that he can justify himself that he was right in doing so that he never has to do any internal work and realise that he's made some errors. This is what human beings will continue to do, right? And they're not even that aware of it. It's not like he pre-planned it. It's just impulsively happening to him, and he's acting upon the impulse to cause total destruction. He wants to drag everybody else into the stupidity that he wants to partake in.
This is an important discussion, and just to absolutely underline, I'm not wanting to discuss the conspiracy theories. They're wrong, but I
see that's just an escape clause. So he's decided that he's right, but he's not going to offer you anything up to support his reasoning because he doesn't have anything. So he's just going to dismiss it so that he can negate himself looking silly because he's terrified, right, that his worldview is going to be exposed for the flaw and the fraud that it actually is. So he's trying to sit on the upper shelf and negate it by saying, I'm not willing to discuss. Well, what are you talking about then? You've just decided that your worldview is correct without having to substantiate that, and then you expect people to, be blind to that and come under your wee rule and start offering you up whatever fodder you want to reaffirm your wee bias. That's just not going to happen, Simon. That's seriously dishonest. First and foremost, your premise is that the Earth's a globe. Prove that. You cannot. Therefore, you've got no ground to stand upon. So it's me that's analysing you. I'm interested in why you're so deceptive with yourself, why you're so dishonest with yourself, and why you're so terrified of yourself. I'm here to help you, Simon. I'm offering the hand of support.
Do want to discuss why you believe them, how you discovered
It's
them.
very simple. I've told you. There's no justification to believe in a globe other than I've seen it on the TV. I can see Superman flying in outer space. I can see all sorts of monsters and creatures and amazing fantasy on my TV screen. So where do we draw the line? How do you establish what you're seeing on your TV is indeed true, a real world fact, Simon? That would mean you would have to have some demonstration. You would have to be able to have some sort of quantification, the ability to measure. But you can't. And the reason you can't, Simon, is because the Earth is demonstrably a level plane. The geometry that we assumed is planar. That's what we apply. Now I've got your other video here when you're talking about Boris's bridge to Ireland, when we're talking about engineering and your interest in engineering. When they go to build a bridge, they're not using non-Euclidean geometry to achieve bridge building, Simon. They're using Euclidean geometry to achieve bridge building, right? Because the Earth's a plane. Water is level. The water between the UK and Ireland is a level surface. Simon. They build and construct with plumbs, levels, and build things square. You can't achieve that on a curved surface, Simon. Fact. So you better have a wee look at yourself and get your faculties correct, because I've exposed your mental illness in a kind way, because I hope that you learn from it and that your honesty will bring you to the table so that you can discuss it properly.
And why you rejected the more common knowledge. And also I want to hear you.
See, again, subtly, why you rejected the more common knowledge, why you rejected consensus and authority. That's what that means. Why you rejected authority and consensus? Because it's fallacious, it's illogical, irrational. That's why. To just go with consensus. Very dangerous game, Simon.
Your theories
That's
about...
how we get zealots, fanatics, fanaticism. Because people follow ideas and concepts.
Why people prefer to believe the conspiracy theory over the facts.
What facts? Again, you can see the nervousness in him. That's an unsure body language when he stated over the facts. You can, again, I'll show you. Just look at the uncomfortableness. His body is telling you that he knows he's lying.
The conspiracy theory over the facts.
See? Shrugging his shoulders, shirking the responsibility. What he's basically saying to you is facts. Those facts are what he has taken to be true by belief and faith, invested in authority and consensus. And he knows that. Again, he may not be consciously aware of it, but his body tells you everything you need to know, because it's not going to tell you lies. And he's not well versed and practiced in disguising his body language.
In my humble opinion.
In your humble dishonesty, Simon.
Keep it real, keep it polite.
And now he's going to keep it real when he's been anything but real. He may have been polite, but, the predator, the liar, the deceiver will be polite. Because they have to be. Okay? They have to be covert liars and deceivers. They're wise enough to realise that. So they have to give you the facade. And that's why he's now utilising that, because he's trying to project to you that he's a man of honesty. when he's anything but.
And let's have a great discussion in the comments, because that's what this channel's all about.
How can you have a discussion in comments? That's not productive, Simon. Let's have discussions man to man. That's much more productive, because in comment sections it just goes unchecked and nothing is ever resolved. Right?
The truth is out there.
Aye. There you go. That was Professor Simon. Alright, so Simon, I'm going to post a link to this once it's rendered, once it's processed, and I'll put it into the comment that I've put on your video. And hopefully you get some use out of it. And you get a clearer understanding of what real people are thinking, and that you're not just influenced by your consensus, propaganda, media, misrepresentation, generalisation, fallacious jobby. Right? Because that doesn't represent somebody like me. Cheers, Gav. It's pretty obvious. Again, a lot of these things are subtle, and I hope that, you know, by me continually pointing it out, people start to see these types of behaviours, because it's really useful to you if you learn them. Because you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about not just these characters you're seeing on TV, you learn a lot about your immediate interactions with family, friends. You can start to identify these influencers and how people are influencing each other. So any questions before I move on? Is there anything anybody never understood, anything that anybody disagrees with? I'm willing to face it and see what you've got to say. Cheers, flat out truth, for the wee prompt of that. Frank, of course, I addressed the other night, and you know what went on. It's no biggie at all, man. Fuck. Shit happens. And it's good that you come back, because this is what happens, you know, people think that when you have the kind of wee confrontations or disagreements, that then denotes that we should have some separation and we're now at odds and opposed to each other and all that fucking stuff. Shit happens. I'm going to make a smoke. So, as I say, I'm interested in anybody's feedback of what I've just offered up. Disagreements, agreements, anything you think I missed. See, let's not give people like Simon any fodder to make excuses for no engaging, you know, because they'll utilise that, these snowflake, dishonest types. Oh, they're rubbing my house, you're calling me a hobbit, ooh, therefore they're not worthy of my attention because they resort to such gutter type. Whatever. Because this is what they'll do. They'll just resort to playing the victim. Well, I'm trying to be kind. Boom me, I'm trying to be kind. As I say, I've got to rein in the character projection of contempt. You know, because I forget sometimes that no everybody's a fucking antagonistic troll. You know, and again, that's mine's to own, that's my responsibility that I've allowed myself to be influenced by that. But as I said, and we spoke about with Frank, not everybody's perfect. We live and learn. Hi Gav, you coming on? You want to come on? It's always raining here, Bill. That's an excellent picture. It looks exactly like Bo. It's always fucking raining here. I'll send this out. Obviously, there's no expectation for you to join, Gav. I just seen it. All there. Oops. Right. I think, you know, our charlatans providing a public service, just stupid people being mocked. I don't know about the mocking, you know, of the person. I think the content that they offer up, you know, I think there's a very fine line for me. You know, that if somebody wants to offer up content that I can find flaws in and I can highlight, I can ridicule it. But I would never ridicule them as a sentient being, because I'm too, you know, empathetic in that regard. I don't have a place to be doing that to them. As I talked about earlier with the bullying type antics, you can affect and push people to behave in all sorts of funny ways. So for me, I'm very cautious of that. But I've absolutely no qualms about offering up, you know, their stupidity in regards to their content. I think that's a huge problem with people. They defend an aspect or a bias, and then when that's ridiculed, they play the victim and take it personal, like it's them that's been attacked and ridiculed, when it's never the case. And I'm always suspicious of people who are quick to turn on the victim mindset, you know, and try and utilise that as sway, because that's, again, it's just part of the weakness, it's just part of the illness as far as I'm concerned, you know. Now, if you're going to come and tell me the grass is fucking purple, I'm going to laugh and ridicule that, because it's obviously no. Although there is purple grass, but in general, before we get all nitpicky and all that stuff, and then we could even nitpick even more and say, well, green is just a noise denoted to a visual representation of something we call colour. I mean, how far are we willing to take it? No worries, Gav. I'll just save the bridge one until Gav comes in. We can have a wee chat about that. And that's it, Dardania. This is part of the antics that they partake in. Well, they try and play these games. So, as I say, he's offered that up as his content, and just as Trackmatic says, it's a public use. It's useful to me because it gives me the opportunity to highlight it. And then if anybody that comes here is paying attention, they may get some realisations. They may learn something about themselves that they can utilise and progress in their own individual life, which can only be good. amazing when you analyse people's statements and things that they say and how they're laced by presuppositions and projections and stuff like that. And the more you practice it, the better you get at identifying it, and you start to see. You can get through. You get through all the fluff, the peacock feathers, and you can get right to the nitty gritty. You know, it's Gaff. How you doing?
Yeah, right, my man.
Hold on, I just fix this here. Right, that's that.
Can't see.
I'm just fixing it right now. Why is that not coming through now? What's going on? Hold on, I'll press the wrong one. Aye, we're done. There we go. Sorted.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Aye, sound.
Aye.
Aye, great analysis, my man. As I say, I think one of the main things is making people see through all these facades, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you see that, first of all, the character of that guy, you know, he looks like a lovable, jovial, you know, nice, honest person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he probably thinks he is, and I'm sure he is within his family as well, Dale, but he's obviously got this role of science educator that he thinks he has to portray, and he thinks he's smarter, and he's living in a wee world of delusion. You know, to be honest, I thought I wanted to cuddle him and I'd spend time with the man, trying to reason with him. Yeah. You know, like honestly and openly, and in a way I'd like to make him see, you know, through all the nonsense. And it's not necessarily the nonsense he's talking. What he can't see through is his own personality, this mask that he's built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that's what you've highlighted beautifully, that, you know, I mean, you made a psychoanalytics there of this guy based on just this video, and I think it's spot on. Yeah. I've seen so many people like that in my time too in the education system. Mm-hmm. As you know, I went through it, you know, so,
yep.
You know, and a lot of the lecturers, professors, you know, academics, they're like that. You know, they've come from a school system, they've been educated, they never went outside of school, they just stayed in the system. Mm-hmm. And then they I don't know, they get these characteristics, these attributes that are kind of half theatrical, somehow well-meaning, but still just totally devoid of any real substance,
I think
it's sad, to be honest.
I think it comes to that reward system, just as you say, you know, it's like, the reward system produces this delusion of grandeur where they formulate this worldview of themselves and their place within the world, and they have this stature, and that's fueled by the reward system, you know, and then it's very difficult for them to let go of that, you know. But as I say, you can analyse it, you can see it's very clear in the presuppositions and the assumptions that he's making, that he's not outwardly showing you, but based on statements that he makes, you can reverse engineer it to see where he's actually, the point he's coming for. And it's for somebody like me, it's obvious, and the reason it's obvious for me is because you spend a lot of time analysing your own behaviour, and that then allows you to identify these traits that you can then see being utilised by other people, you know.
Yep.
So
yeah, but I mean, they're for grace, you know. I could have ended up in a situation like that, Dale, to be quite honest, you know.
Yeah.
Stayed within the education system, you know, got more letters after your name, did more buddy review system, you know, publishing, right? And ended up thinking I was, you know, God's gift, you know, or whatever you want to call it.
It fuels your own self-importance, and it just keeps adding to it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see that's what that man's just trapped, you know, and his own... I don't know what to call it. Sad. To be honest, it's sad more than anything.
We have to have that compassion, because as you say, there's a lot of people are like that and in that position, and it's really about being compassionate with them, because it's like, as I say, I'm being genuinely honest, I'm willing to offer my hand out to him because it's flawed reasoning he's offering up, and I can break it apart and we can go over and over it to the point where, you know, it's blatantly obvious. So, you know, I'm the same, it's like, oh, come here, don't be so scared. I understand you're fucking scared, you know what I mean? But,
and there is a lot of fear in that. I mean, a lot of these people that stay within these institutions actually do have a kind of, you know, implicit fear of the big wide world, Dale, you know? Mm-hmm. You know, they never get out what they're comfortable with, right? As you say, the power that they have over children or over people that, you know, are coming to them, looking to them for truth. Right. And you know, that power builds up in them, and they're comfortable in that situation. And the big wide world, they'd fail dramatically at just about anything else they would try, probably, you know.
Aye, but within that, the realms that they move in, you know, they build a faulty ground or foundation of certainty. And that's the problem. They're finding themselves upon a faulty grounding of certainty, and they're terrified of that certainty, crumbling, because they don't know where else. They don't know what their identity is going to be. They're going to lose their place within it, and it's a psychological. I can understand it for that point of view, that they will resort to dishonesty and avoidance in order to maintain it.
Yeah. You're absolutely spot on. Most of them it's a fear of where the hell are they going to end up, and they're going to have to admit to themselves that their life's been one big fucking waste and joke. The same way ours was. We had to man up and admit it. So all I can say is he has to suck it up at some time. I'm willing to give him a cuddle, right, and stand beside him while he's going through it. But he's got to fucking do it himself. And it's about time all these fucking people did that, Dale. I'm sick of it. To be quite honest, the cowardice.
Yeah. But this is just how I'm going to approach it from now on. As I say, I'm going to curtail some of the character projections, because I'm not going to give the antagonists, the trolls, that kind of energy anymore. So for me, we just have to start dealing with these types of things the way I'm trying to deal with it now, and just lay it out. And hopefully, if they're honest and they're stating they want to come to the discussion, then come to the discussion. There's nothing to fear other than your own dishonesty. You know what I mean?
I think most people have been warned not to come here, Dale, to be quite honest, without trying to sound, in any way big-headed or something.
No,
but I think a lot of people will.
But even at that, it doesn't need to be overt. Subliminally, they will avoid situations like people like us, because, again, they're not really consciously aware of that's what they're doing, but they will avoid it because they know it's a threat to them.
Exactly, and that's where I get back, or where we get back to the topic. If everybody has that discerning mind, then he's got nowhere else to go. If he gets confronted with people like us everywhere he moves, Dale, then it's game over, right? But at the moment, he's just still moving about institutions and hallways, right, where he's having absolutely no resistance,
Exactly.
And I just want, if he was out in the fucking streets speaking to people like me, yourself, and all the other people watching this, then it'd be a different ballgame,
Of course it would.
But he's too scared to do that.
Of course. And that happens in psychologically just the same as it happens in, use an analogy of, you go to the gym and you see people who their ego is there. And rather than, if people are trying to bodybuild for something, I'm just using this as an analogy because it's relevant for me. People have got a way, like, they don't restrict the individual muscle. They'll contort and swing because their ego is they're at the gym and they want to appear that they can lift bigger weights, when in reality they're overriding the actual muscle. They're not identifying the muscle they're trying to use, so they'll find ways to cheat, but they're not consciously partaking in that cheating process. That's just what the body does. That's just the kind of subtle reactions that they have. And it's the same psychologically. When it's something hard and difficult that you're going to have to face in order to get, the end result, you'll find ways of cheating and avoiding and blah, blah, blah. So it comes with a wee bit of discipline.
Oh, absolutely. Thinking is difficult, and if you challenge people to actually think for themselves, then that's where they'll usually run a mile. Right. As I say, the biggest fear is that they're going to end up exactly the same place we are, not knowing where the fuck we are and what this is all about and why people are lying to us. And, he's going to ask all these difficult questions of himself, and he just doesn't want to go there.
No.
Right? And I'm sure, deep down, he's going to have the same uncomfortable feeling that there's something wrong, but by fuck, he'll try his hardest to ignore it.
That's it. And the problem here is that we've got no false certainty to offer. So.
Oh, I've got nowhere else to go. No.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But no, very good analysis, and I think that's the best way to do it. Dale, is just to show these people politely, reasoned, right, exactly where the problems lie. I mean, I'm not attacking that man individual. I'll say it again, he's probably a likable fellow, all done, but just horribly misguided. And sad at his attempts to keep his own stature and status quo where it is, instead of, real honesty and real truth. He would actually, know deep down himself that he's doing something wrong.
Well, exactly. Well, that comes right down to it again, science, exploration. It requires you as an individual to have total honesty with yourself, because that's the only way you're ever going to learn and actually know stuff. If you don't have that, you're just delusional. You're not going to have a proper grounding in anything.
Yep. But again, I'm not the one to point out anybody's credentials, but as far as I understand, he's a science communicator again, which is the typical gatekeeping, class that we actually have in front of the real engineers and the real physicists, they're still sending these people out to gatekeep the situation by the looks of things, and dressing them up to look like Einstein, doesn't fucking help, because we just see through all that shite now, So.
Well, I say that is, again, I pointed at that. It could just be that's just him. You get people that project these, like the peacock feathers, or how they want people to perceive them, and it's all a bit of the lesser magic's a bit of the game playing of, look at me, I'm this windswept and interesting, and I'll have this facade because I know that it has an effect on you, and these are all wee subtle games that people try and play with each other. But for somebody like me, it's like, whatever, couldn't give a fuck,
And even granted all that to him, I don't really care about all that at the end of the day. But this idea that he's constantly outside looking at what other people are thinking about him, and how he's trying to appear to them, and how he wants to be perceived, instead of looking honestly within himself as to his own reasoning and his own belief structures. That's the thing that bothers me, right? That's the, how should I say, the cowardly part of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. Aye.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not the last.
No.
Simon.
No.
But it would be wonderful if he actually did see it and decided to come to a conversation, I mean, I'd certainly treat him with any respect, so.
Aye. Well, I mean, there you are. I mean,
not that he's deserved any yet, but I tend to give people respect who deserve it.
No,
I don't like this idea of giving people, up front,
At a basic human sentient level, I have that for him just based on that. He's a feeling and thinking human being the same as you and I. So I've got that compassion at that level. But his content, I'm going to be brutal with, and I'm not going to have any remorse about fucking obliterating it. So.
No. Absolutely. And again, on a personal that, I don't think there's any hidden agenda. I don't think he's evil. He's just completely misguided, and unfortunately in a position to misguide others.
Exactly.
Yeah, or continue to misguide others, and that's
And you see the power of that, because he doesn't have to be doing that deliberately. Just his own, as you say, situation, state, and then coming out, and that has an influence over somebody who's vulnerable or undiscerning. That can have a butterfly effect, and. If he can sleep well at night knowing that, then fair dues.
I mean, you can see how easily it is to perpetuate the nonsense, right? A whole generation of people going in, listening to that guy, or people like him, getting fed the same stories, coming out the system with the same narcissistic traits, let's call them, at the end of the day, because, they are relatively selfish and egoistic. Right, and at the end, you can just see how it perpetuates itself. It's so fucking easy for them, to be honest, if they get the kids young.
Exactly, and this is the thing for me. People really need to eradicate this. They think the spider, the Illuminati, the unseen hand that's dictating all this. It's not like that. These are just effects that we were born into, and these people are just the effect of things that have went on previously, and they're no part of any nefarious laid out plan. It's just not like that.
Yep. No, I say that. I did a wee video on QED, the meaning of QED.
Yeah.
What used to be a practical demonstration has now morphed into basically mathematical sophistry. And I don't think there's people discerning that, right? They're just born into this, mathematical physics is the be all end all. Whatever it says must be real.
Exactly.
And there's absolutely no agenda behind it, or people, nefarious or anything like that.
No.
It's just the way the system currently is. It's broken.
Aye.
Seriously broken.
Mm-hmm. So you see that in other examples. We tell the kids Santa Claus is real because that's what we were told, and it's all part of the life experience, and it's not a nefarious, deliberate intention to cause. Although it has that effect, but that's no people's intent behind why they partake in things. So you can see it in so many layers that's what goes on. Human beings are so easy to influence by a concept or an idea, so easy to influence, and then they'll just adopt it, take it on board, and perpetuate it all on their own,
Yep. As if it was gospel. Yep.
Aye, exactly. So...
Well, I really do think these analysis helps, right? So, people watching that video and, studying what you said, listening to what you said, comparing it with what Simon said, and really, making a reasoned, how should I say, discernment between those two different, points of view. Anybody looking at that, Dale, has to come away with the same conclusion, if you ask me. They're just... So I think it's excellent.
It's useful to me as well, as I say, because you're always exercising it, and if partaking in these things, it's a useful exercise to you, because it helps you to clarify, to even look at, you're always analysing your own reason. Am I looking at this right? Am I missing some way of looking at it? Am I, making an assumption? Am I being ignorant, arrogant? You can analyse yourself through the whole process as well, So
yep.
Hopefully,
we continue. We need to continue to do that too. There's everybody's fallible, huh?
Of course they are.
So.
Of course they are. Yep. People need to get that. It's not like we're sitting here talking as if we're on high. Of course not.
Not at all.
We're just as fallible as everybody fucking else, as I say.
Oh, okay. Made some bad decisions and bad choices and bad judgments in my day, my man. Yeah.
Of course, and probably still will.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's not over yet.
Exactly. It's the puzzle that keeps giving.
Exactly. Yeah, but at the same time, as you say, it's honing your own sense of, of what you are and, where your weaknesses are. I'm talking about myself now, so it's definitely, it's all that stuff helps, It should help Simon, it should help everybody else too.
All right, well, that's it. Hopefully. So I was going to show his other video. It's only a wee 3-minute one, but he's basically just, he's talking.
Go for it.
We'll play it and we'll just highlight the obvious about geometries and whatever else. So I need to stop sharing that one and I need to screen share.
Yep, no issue.
We'll go here.
Hey, welcome back, lovely people. Now, I'm a big fan of large engineering projects, but Boris's bridge is gonna...
See, so, this is what I was stating earlier, right off the bat, engineering projects, building bridges. What geometry are we going to assume?
Well, there only is one, Dale. The other one's just the eye of the beholder. Yeah.
Exactly. So, we're talking, I don't even need to play any more of the video. That's basically just to make that point to him. And he shows a wee thing here, where are we? Where he's showing the bridge going from one to the other. It's a bridge. It's built on Euclid's principles. That's the geometry, the assumption that's made. We're using plumb, level, and square.
Yeah. What else do you need to know, right?
You can't apply that to a curve. So
no, there's absolutely. I've never seen any bridge that's taken that into account. I've even had conversations with bridge builders myself, with surveyors, with engineers. Right.
Yeah.
I remember going to that engineering here in Germany, a big office, and having the discussion with them. And they were just as unwilling to accept the challenge or the claim, or that I'm challenging them. But at the same time, they couldn't offer not one iota of a proof that they ever took the curvature of the earth into account with anything they ever built there.
No.
So he went away looking sheepish because he couldn't provide that proof. But he was still absolutely adamant to the end that what I was saying couldn't possibly be correct.
Well, it comes right down to it. It shows the blueprints, it shows the engineering drawings, and we know that they're not going to be non-Euclidean, because that's not what it is. So how they can, again, it's back to that inability to be honest. When it's right, if the elephant's in the room, it's right in front of you. So you're going to listen to some biased confirmation. But that's only applicable to locality. What? You can't have a straight line on a fucking bar. End of story.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's really simple. The sphere is literally a mathematical concept, supposed to be the two-dimensional surface of a ball. And that geometry has been around for a long, long, long time. And mathematicians actually know that. And that's why they should be ashamed of themselves that they sell that part as somehow being real, Dale.
Yeah.
Even though they know it's just a manipulative mathematical object that they're dealing with,
Yeah.
And I can understand why other people maybe can't see through that, but I really do, I have an issue with mathematicians, because they should know better if they knew their stuff,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, we've got what is it? A computer? Again, I don't want to knock somebody, but if he's a computer science educator, trying to tell us now all about bridges and cosmologies, and being a psychoanalyst, I think he's overstepping the mark. He's punching out his reach, to be honest.
Well, this is it. Well, we can punch out his reach all he wants. Again, we don't need to appeal to any, graduate or certificate or anything like that. It just comes right down to, commonality. It's practical references, end of fucking story. So make your claim, demonstrate it.
And if you can't, it's not physical.
Exactly.
Right? And if it's not fucking physical, then it's not real.
No.
I mean, it's as simple as that,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. But that's the simplicity that's so difficult for people to grasp, As I say, that's...
Well, only because they're hanging on to something that they want to believe in still, right? Because they're afraid of where it's going to lead them if they don't.
Yep. Back to the uncertainty again.
Yeah, fear of failure or fear of perceived failure even. Oh, I look stupid. Oh, if I admit now that I was wrong all my life,
Right.
And all these things are just going to hold people back.
Yeah, and that's it. You see that so many times when people know they're wrong, but they'll just fight tooth and nail to save face, and that's another attribute that people really have to consider because it's very real when it happens. So don't delude yourself into some idealistic process that you think's going to go on, because that's not what we're living.
Absolutely.
Aye. I mean, that was pretty much it, mate. I don't know if you get anything else you would want to offer up here. I know we're going to bring up the siphon aspect and stuff, but I don't know if that'd be better done than presented all on its own, So
I think so. We wanted to have a look at the siphon and discuss the principles behind it, because I still see that being used as some kind of, globe proof or something that flat earthers can't explain, because siphons apparently work in a vacuum.
But again, it's a total separate issue. But it's the talk of gravity back to the way in which objects fall, which doesn't define the dimensions of the Earth. It's a total other topic altogether. But I think it would be useful for us just to have a wee look at it, because obviously they're still going to invoke pulley forces and yada yada, which is fucking absurd, So
let's do that in a separate video. I think it's worthy of attention.
Aye, cool.
And the other thing I thought was quite good was the discussion that you had on Saturday. I was just about to come on, and for whatever reason the stream fucked up, but. When you were talking about evil and talking about the kind of questions, what's more important? I mean, it was funny that there wasn't really any, let's say, people that came on who have been, saying, "Oh, this is more important and this is more important." Where were they all on Saturday? They all were all missing again.
Exactly.
And if I get right down to the main question that I would want to ask, you've said it many a time, Dale, you wake up blindfold in a warehouse, what's the first thing you're going to ask? You're not going to ask, what am I, right? You're not going to ask, what am I made of? No, you're going to ask, the first thing you're going to ask is, where the fuck am I, right? And that's such an obvious first question, if you ask me, and that's where I feel that the flat earth, whatever issue, is the most important one that people need to look at, and I can't think of any more important one.
No, it's the foundation, especially when we're talking about ideas and concepts of being and who we are and how we should live and how we should behave and yada yada. Well, these things are grounded upon nothing. They're just air, empty air of clutching at the straws of certainty. And if we don't establish where we actually are and what we're actually a part of here, we're never going to get an understanding of, is there a rule? Is there an expectation of behaviour? What is this place? You don't have any of that. So to start stating that this is more relevant or that's more relevant above establishing where you actually are first and foremost, I find that absolutely bizarre.
Me too. If you can't establish the perimeter and the boundaries of the territory that you're in, then what's the point in asking anything else?
You release any animal, and that's the first thing it will do. It'll establish its surroundings and where it's at, where its water supply is, and blah 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 blah. It needs to get that grounding and that orientation first and foremost. But we're a level above that because we have this ability to reason and ask other questions. So it leads to that. I've went through it so many times. I've done internal work. I've realised stuff about myself, my circumstances, my environment that I was part of. And that only goes so far. Eventually it becomes an outward thing. Well, where the fuck is this? What is going on here?
But, no, that's exactly correct.
But again, you've got these guru types that think they've got some spiritual, access to the higher echelons of knowing and understanding that want us to listen to their sermon and impart wisdom upon us, You know, like, fuck off. You don't know where you are either, you daft cunt.
That's right. For all the proselytizing and all the messiah and listen to me and I've got it sussed. They know fuck all. Yeah. Absolutely fuck all.
The prime mover is acting and speaking through me. Whatever.
The problem with that is that, these loudmouths who definitely do that. The rest just acquiesce, right? So everybody else just kind of, right, okay, just ignore it or just let it go away, and then you end up with these people who are the loudest, that basically have the least to say, the least most important facts to say, get away with it,
Yep.
And they're the ones that are heard, they're the ones people listen to just because the rest acquiesce, and that needs to be stopped as well.
And I don't negate anybody's exploration of a particular topic. That's the difference. I'm not running to them telling them they should this, they should that. But yeah, I get these people coming to me doing it. Well, if that's your interest and you think that's your avenue of pursuit, then you go and see if you can find resolve and tell me your progress, and then come and offer me with specifics the relevance to me as an individual and how it may progress me. Don't just fucking bombard saying you should this and this is more important, whatever. Because what's relevant and more important to me is what I'm walking, So.
Spot on. Yeah. No, they should go and do it themselves then if that's what they're so worried about.
Exactly.
See where it gets them,
Exactly.
And who knows? You never know. Maybe somebody will have something else, but to come and always demand it of you is just, unfair.
Of course. So.
Listen, man, I'm not going to stay on for long. I've got an early start tomorrow, so.
No worries, mate.
Good talking to you again, my man. Speak to you soon there.
Take it easy, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Bye.
Aye. Yeah, just check. So aye, in the offerings from the chat box, I'm going to get a wee phone number sorted out again, but I'm not going to take calls. I'll read people's text messages. I'm sure there's maybe people out there that I don't know if they can have a live chat, because I noticed that sometimes when I go on my phone there doesn't seem to be access to chat boxes and whatever else, so maybe there's people out there that have got something they want to offer up that you can utilise the phone number and send in a text message. Well, I'm not going to offer it up as a phone call type thing, because we just get the same shit again with trolley chatting, and I can't really be bothered giving that any of my attention. So we'll have that as well. But as I say, for the purposes of now, if you get anything in the through the chat box that you want to offer up, then we'll have 5 minutes of that, and then I'll be off. Mr. Reds, I hear that quite a lot. Exactly, beyond belief. That the ability to discern through them, you can read that and break apart their obvious stupidity. They've got the universe worked out, but they're coming and asking you questions. It's wonderful. Exactly, Trackmatic. Exactly. Because if we were to go through that process, and it was agreed upon of the bar and the standard of demonstration, we know fine well that the globe in a court setting would just disintegrate into nothing. We need exploration, of course, Ellen. That is a fundamental requirement. Holographic bioelectrical fractal cosmic synergetic plasma field. That's some lovely words. Basic G. Sean, how you doing? Of course it is World Without Curve. As I say, that's why I opened it up, to have that discussion with people, because I can reason with them. to show them that, you know, all these things that they put their attention to are founded upon nothing, and the things that they place relevance upon are founded upon nothing, because they don't have the objective. They don't know what they're a part of here. So when we're talking about behavioural aspects, morals, ethics, and, you know, the goings on within the arena of life, you know, it's all based on presuppositions, assumptions that people know what reality is, when they don't know what reality is. They don't know this machine, this tech, how it came to be, their place within it, what's expected of them, if there is anything expected of them, what the function of this thing is. They don't have any of that. And even the people who will go with a cosmology of Big Bang, accidental chance happenings, they try and assert a certainty as well, and they're just as delusional as everybody else. While they sit on a high ground thinking that they're looking down on the gullibles because they believe they came from nothing. Nothing and nowhere, with no design or no intent behind it, but then they want me to treat them as a rational, intelligent, free-thinking being. Mental. Cheers, Nicholas Brown, no worries. Alan Blair would like to speak, but what's new to talk about? We are all stuck on the same page, going in circles because no one else has the funding to expand on exploration. And there is a lot of that, Alan Blair. You know, I find myself a lot of the time, it's like, you know, come one here on a Saturday and, you know, try to utilise it for, you know, positive purposes or whatever, because I feel that frustration continually, because we do need the logistics, we need numbers, we need to be able to access that, you know, to try and establish what this place actually is. And it's a frustrating process because it's not going to happen overnight. So we get that, oh, we're going round in circles, but at the end of the day, there's always new people. We don't know everything in regards to ourselves and behaviours and interactions, language. There's loads of layers and complexities to this that can help bring about the numbers required in order for us to achieve the goal. So a lot of it for me is still useful, although I still feel that continually. Like, I just want to fucking know the truth. I don't want to be here on YouTube. I don't want to have to go through this process all the time. I just want us to fucking know, and then we can do what we're doing. But well, about forcing the rectilineator too. The force the rectilineator. I mean, this is it worries me. This, we've got a substance that tells us. We've got a geometric assumption or a measurement that it's a plane. The substance known as water is a measuring tool in abundance that tells us we're upon a plane. Unless we're on a kind of plane like this and there is a kind of lower level like this maybe, and there's some sort of flowing, and the world's actually like a step system. Could be something like that going on. And we're just overlooking it because we're thinking in a set of fixed geometries of circles and bars and all this stuff, when the reality could be something totally bizarre. You know? Across that way you could step down slightly and we've got a parallel to it but just slightly above. I mean, it could be anything. But people are stuck on fixed man-made geometries. That it must either be a circle or a fucking square or a ball or something like that. Why? It's like childlike. It's like, is that the pre-programming from your childhood? This is a circle. Put the circle through the circle hole. Put the square through the square hole. And the triangle through the triangle hole. And now when we come to thinking about our objective reality, everybody's got this man-made set geometry in their mind. It's got to be a square or a circle or a triangle or a ball. How do you know? Might be all misshapen, with bits down here and bits up there, and it's all fucking staggered all over the fucking place. I've spoke to some people on an individual perspective. I've still got the video of the old guy when me and Dan were last at, Largs viewing the Ailsa Rock, and I was stopping people, as they were going by as we were filming Ailsa Rock in view in its entirety from 40 miles away, reflecting on the water beneath it. And I had an old guy who professed he was a seafarer, and when I pointed out the obvious, he resorted to stating, well, I bought a Tim Peake book and I believe Tim Peake. So again, it's like, aye, it's a good idea and I'm willing to engage with anybody, but just because people are seafarers, they're still going to be influenced by, the same as what everybody else was influenced by. They're just not putting their attention to it. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't negating that individual perspective. I'm just saying, I think about loads of these things. I'll speak to these people, I'll speak to that, but people are just people. They're all under the same influence. So, as I say, I'll go and I'll speak to any of these people. That, Mr. Reds, I've also noticed that, we were out yesterday and the amount of people with like these bubble jackets on now, people in the UK with bubble jackets with American flags and fucking NASA on it. So they're brainwashing you and telling you a pack of fucking lies, and at the same time they're selling you merchandise that you're actually buying. I would love that in The Realist. I would fucking love that. I'm sick and tired of living under a dark, grey, constant blanket. It really takes its toll on you. It feels like it's just rained perpetually for a year. And I'm probably no far off. I can count in one hand the amount of clear, sunny days I've experienced in the last year. It's phenomenal. It's climate change, it's global warming. Is it really? Is it only happening in Scotland? Because Spain and Tenerife and all these places and Miami and all these places, they've got the sun every fucking day. Every bastard day. Clear fucking blue skies and fucking sunshine. Maybe global warming's selective, like gravity. Maybe it's an entity and it's pissing on Scottish people. Fuck you, you bastards. Pissing on us all day. Take some of that. Same in Denmark, one man he's detected as fucking chronic. Just as I say that, the wind whips up and the fucking rain splatters off the windows. Oh, bring us more. Oh, I love it. I'd fucking love to move across Refuge Junction. It's fucking easier said than fucking done. Fucking fund it for me then, and I'll move. Somebody. Are you a rich fucker out there? I mean, I'm not asking for much. I'll live in a shed next to the fucking beach in the sunshine. 20 grand. We'll call it 20 grand. If you're a rich cunt out there and you get 20 grand to spare, throw us it. I'll be forever appreciative. So I can go and live in a fucking shack in the sunshine. Maloney, I'll sell melons on the beach. No worries. Maloney, sunshine. Cutting melon all day. Fucking brilliant. I'd rather have the snow, Emerald Rider. I would rather have the snow. At least I can function in the snow. The snow is nice to look at. It's enjoyable. You can have fun in it. You can't do that in freezing cold, horizontal rain blasting into your sphincter at 80 miles an hour. There's just no outdoor activities to be had in these types of conditions. So I'd be careful for what you wish for, because I would love some snow. Snow and sunshine are good weathers as far as I'm concerned. Activity based. That's 2 million if they want me to shut up, beyond belief. But if there's a generous person out there that's a millionaire, I'm only asking for 20 grand. You could change my life forever, make me very happy. Surely that's a brilliant incentive. Would you not get a kick out of that? Seeing a man that's been tortured by the weather, escaping the conditions to become bright and beautiful in the sunshine. Hey! What do I get? I got a bunch of poor cunts watching me. Fucking typical, that's my luck. Oh, you poor bastards out there, sitting watching me. Fucking hell, go and get some ginger bottles or something. Fucking send me 20 G's. Get me out of this shit. But no, I don't get rich fuckers watching me. I get poor bastards. It's your fault. I'm glad I could be of service to you, Chris F.E. Jackson, saving you from that evil telly. Edna. Mind Edna, the evil telly in Will-o'-the-Wisp. I think it was trying to tell us something. Edna was the bad one in Will-o'-the-Wisp. You're pathetic, Keith Anthony. You don't even get fucking a spare 20 grand to throw my way. You're a failure, son. An absolute fucking failure. Aye, wet socks all year, Sean. Fucking right. The best things in life are free, but a wee 20 grand to get to the sun so that I can embrace the free things even more would be wonderful. I should have preached about Jesus because God always gets money. I'm spot on, Sidney. Fucking right. I think we'll start that. This is now the Church of Delis. In order to maintain my presence, you must send me a weekly amount of 100 squids. God will be forever grateful and will answer your prayers as soon as he gets round to it. You're in a queue. Well, just 20 grand to get me out of here and get to the sun. That's what I'm asking for. We'll talk about resources and exploration once I get some sunshine run about me. Right, I think that's enough of that. Thank you all very much. Hopefully what was offered was of use to you. If not, hey ho, it was of use to me. So take it easy, people. I'll see you all very soon. Take care.